if you do
Okay.
forget things.
What?
If you forget things, you can go look them up.
That's what I'm, oh, okay.
But this will help him. He can just rewatch this a
Yes.
million times.
Yes.
So, okay.
But sad to say, you can find plenty of stuff. If you forget something, not the end of the world.
Okay.
So we'll just start up here. So this is the 7-pin cord. This is going to run back to the 7-pin plug on your truck.
All right.
So that way, when you hit the brakes in the truck, brake lights on the camper will
That's
come
the one
on.
that's inside the bed right now.
That's right. Yep.
Okay.
It will also, while you're driving, the truck will charge the battery in the camper. And one thing I want to mention about that is if you have the camper sitting on the truck and you are inside the camper, you're using it, but you have the truck off, unplug this from the truck.
Okay.
Because what it can do is drain the truck battery and you don't realize it until you go to start the truck. So if it's going to sit on the truck and you use it, the truck is off, just unplug the cord.
Right.
And you can unplug it either from here or from the truck. It doesn't really matter.
Okay.
Each one of these jacks has got its own little plug where it plugs into the camper.
Right.
So if one of the jacks is not running, just make sure that you didn't unplug this by accident.
I got you. This thing looks nice.
Yeah. This is your disconnect switch, and that is basically the on-off switch.
For the whole thing.
Yes. So the batteries inside the camper, that is powering everything that is 12 volts in here. So you got a bunch of systems like your lights and your fan and water pump,
right,
and all of that stuff.
That
is all 12 volt operated. Your air conditioner,
120.
That will only run on shore power, and that's 120 volts. So make sure that your battery disconnects on. Of course, anytime you're using it, if you don't have the disconnect on, you don't have the power.
When you say shore power, is that a inverter that changes the battery?
That's the plug-in.
Or is that a plug-in?
That is a plug-in.
You got to have plug-in for that.
Okay. That's right.
Okay.
Whenever you're plugged in, if your disconnect is on, it's also going to charge your battery.
Okay.
So there's a converter that's going to convert the AC voltage to 12 volts to charge your battery. Okay. So if the switch is off, then everything will still have power, but it won't charge the battery.
I got you.
So just make sure that the switch is on. When you leave
That's
the
almost
camper,
all the time, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. So
Unless you're
usually
not
the
using it,
disconnect
right?
is going to be on. The purpose of it is when you leave the camper, if it's not plugged into something and you want to make sure no lights are on, nothing is draining the battery, you just flip the switch off.
I got you.
That'd turn your refrigerator off too, though. Will
It will.
So you don't want to do
Now
it.
the refrigerator, is it for what voltages?
Or is it propane or?
It'll run on propane or on electric.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
electric.
wonderful.
So I'll show you all that, but you can switch it from that. All right. Now this right here, these studs are wired straight to the battery.
Wow.
So you can use that for a couple of things. If you want to check the battery voltage with like a voltmeter or something, you can put it right on there.
Okay.
And that way you don't have to go unscrew the cover and get to the battery.
I got you.
Also, if your battery is dead and you need power, you can hook up jumper cables or a jump box or a battery charger or something right to there.
Okay.
And that's essentially hooking you straight up to the battery.
I got you.
All right, now you see these bumpers here?
Uh-huh.
When you put it in the truck, that's going to give you a little bit of space between the wall of the camper and the front of the bed. And now this is personal preference. Some folks will put the bumpers straight up against the back of the against the front of the bed. I usually leave maybe that much space, but that's really just going to be your preference for how you want it to sit in the camper. These right here are just vents, so your battery is in a compartment. It's got to be vented. So that's what those are. Just make sure if you wash the camper, don't spray water straight up there because it will get inside. Actually, note about that. So of course you use the jacks to raise it up whenever you're putting it on the truck. If you want to be inside the camper when it's not on the truck, you just want to have it down fairly low. If you have it jacked way up there, then it won't be very stable. It'll rock when you climb inside it and not feel very safe. So if you just drop it down, we can drop it down a good 6 inches farther than it is right now. Because the lower your center of gravity is, the more stable it's going to be when you're inside it. Everything. If you want to run the fridge, it'll work great for that.
Now, does the refrigerator, does it, you say it runs on propane?
Yeah.
It can run on propane or electric.
Now, does it automatically shift to what you got? Or
You
do
can
have
set
to
it on auto, and if it's on auto, then it will use
pick up
electric
whatever
and,
you
and
got?
then switch over if you unplug it.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, I'll show you that. Now that is just a cable or satellite hookup.
Okay.
If you're going to use that. Outside AC outlet, and of course all these outlets, they're going to be on when you're plugged into shore power, but not if you're
Right.
This is an outside shower.
Oh,
pretty
outside
simple.
shower.
Yeah.
It's probably more for washing your feet or
Right,
your dog
right.
or the camper than it is for taking a shower.
Yeah, it'd be kind of.
All right. In here, that's actually your hot water heater.
Oh, water heater.
So this is a tankless water heater.
Oh, wonderful.
So the way that it works is you're going to make sure that the switch is on here. This is like your master on-off.
Right.
So if you switch that off, and you go try to turn it on inside, it won't do anything. So just make sure that this is in on position, unless you just want to shut it
And
off.
that's propane, isn't it?
That uses propane, yep. So
Mate.
if you, of course, you're going to need battery power to turn it on.
Right.
But if you're not plugged in, you can still have hot water. How it will work is it'll kind of be in standby mode, and then when the water runs through it, it's going to kick it on. So usually in 10-20 seconds, you'll feel the water start heating up. And if you were to come out here and stand out here, you'd hear it light. You'd be able to feel the hot air. It has a pressure relief valve there, so you can see if water's coming through using that.
Now, you don't have to do any checking, you don't have no anode or nothing
There's
like
no
that?
anode rod, there's no water tank, there's no
Okay.
bypass valves.
Okay.
So it's very, very simple.
Okay.
It's right down there. That is your
Surge.
Yep. Your crap dump, basically.
Is that gray water and sewage?
Yes.
So
you got-
tell them about that.
Here's the black tank. Here's the gray tank. They both dump out the same place.
Yeah.
But when you hook up a sewer hose to there, and you pull the valve, and it dumps. So you'll find a place, of course, that you dump sewer. Some campsites have sewer hookup available. Some of them don't. So just make sure you check on that if you're planning the trip.
And you want to do the sewage first, and then the gray tank second, so it rinses out your septic on the first one,
That's
right?
right. Yeah.
And you don't want to just turn it on full blast. Like when you get there, you want to wait till it's full to do it, because you don't want it running all the time, right?
That's right. Yeah, you want to wait till your tank is full and then dump it. Slide on and you twist it and lock.
Okay. So basically any standard hose.
Pretty much a standardized sewer hose, yes.
Okay.
And it is gravity that is dumping it. So, I mean, if you're on the truck, it's going to be up there.
Oh, yeah.
So you should be above pretty much any dump
Right.
station. But of course, make sure that your sewer hose is straight, doesn't have kinks.
That doesn't, okay.
It's a good idea to
Have a little things that go under to make it.
if you're running the sewer hose a long way, that can be helpful.
But you're
right
way
there.
up high, so you really don't need that.
Not really.
If you're dumping and you feel like one of those would be helpful, caps off, that's going to drain your water lines. So if you're winterizing it,
Okay.
I would use those to make sure that you've gotten all the water out of your plumbing lines. Now, are you familiar with winterizing?
My way of doing it. But
What's your way of doing it?
Draining out the road.
drain it out and then run the
Pink stuff.
antifreeze in it.
Antifreeze.
And then until you see it start coming out, and then shut it off.
That's right. Yeah. So there's different ways of doing it, but
Blowing it out.
the concept is you're running antifreeze through every place you can get water until you don't see water anymore. You just see antifreeze.
Right.
And you can do it with air. It's right there. The controls are on the inside. And there is an awning light as well.
Is this automatic?
Yeah. Now this has, you see the brackets on the side? There are arms inside that awning, and when you run the awning out a certain distance, it'll come down. So you'll use the arms to support it, and you can either set the arms on the ground or on the brackets. I would probably use the brackets,
Okay.
especially if you've got the camper up on the truck.
Right.
It's going to be too high for them to reach the ground.
Right.
Excuse me. Well, yeah, I can't really put it out right now.
Okay, that's fine.
So your propane is in here. So you've got 2 tanks, and they will both fill from right here, and you can see the gauges on there. So it's got an automatic regulator. So if you can see up in there, that's going to select, this is your primary tank because it's pointing to it. If you have both of them on, what it will do is it'll use the primary tank first, and then when that's empty, switch over to pulling from this tank.
Okay.
But what most of us do is just leave this one shut. Sometimes you can have a compartment here. On this one, there's not. You'll be able to, like, your tail light will be sitting about there. Get out or have somebody else do it. For once in a while, you just want to make sure that your sealant is all in good shape. It's all new right now, so you shouldn't have to worry about it for a while. But it's always good to just be in the habit of checking it and make sure that your sealant does not have cracks or holes in it and it's not peeling up.
Where's the sealant? I mean, where's the seal part?
Around all of your vents. Basically anytime that you mount something on the roof, you put a screw into the roof, or you have a hole in the roof, you're going to seal everything around it. And that's why it's so important to make sure that sealant's in good shape, because if it starts leaking water, that's going into the roof, and then you start rotting and having all kinds of problems. So that's something that it's worth. Check it out more often than you need to, so that you don't end up with a problem. Because if you get a leak, then there's nothing but issues after that. You're gonna put your license plate right there if you can't see it when you put the camera on the truck. Right. You got any questions?
Now my truck's got a little.
Yeah,
just pull up on
when
it.
you're getting ready to go somewhere, yeah.
All right. You want to go in?
Yeah,
After
it doesn't have a step.
After you.
So
You
there
don't need
is
it
a
now.
step that you can mount on it. It's in that box there.
We got air. We got air. There's the cord.
Yeah.
Right.
So when you put the camper on the truck, it's obviously going to be a little high to just climb in. You can mount that step on the camper if you want, and I can do that for you if you want. It's not hard to do. Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
There's your truck keys.
Dad,
Oh, where'd they come from?
the guy just gave them to you.
Huh?
The guy just handed it to you.
Oh, is this for this?
No, it's your truck
That's
keys.
for your truck.
Oh, okay. Didn't recognize it.
Well, there you go. What was I saying? Your glow step, if you want me to mount that, I can. It won't take long. You can also get a step that, like, it goes into the hitch receiver, and just basically you can put it in when you need it. Monitor panel, and you'll be able to look at your tank levels and stuff. So that's telling you your battery is full. Anytime that you're plugged in, it should be showing full. Fresh tank is empty. All of your tanks are empty right now. So you saw the fresh tank fill port. You know how to dump the tanks, but you'll be able to just keep an eye on the level. If the black tank says full, I would not put anything more in until you can dump it. The gray tank, if it says full, you can probably still run it a little bit. If the water starts backing up the drain, you can go dump it. The black tank, you don't want to mess with that. You don't want it.
This is the important part.
You have awning 1 and awning 2 lights, and awning 1 and awning 2 retracting and stem. There's only the one awning. So that one of these is a dummy switch. That's not hooked up to anything.
Okay.
I can't remember which is which, but it's easy to find out because if you push the switch and nothing happens, you know it's the dummy. So you saw the light strip that's underneath the awning. I'm not going to push either of them because I don't want to hit the other camper next to us. The porch lights, that's one right outside. Now here's your water pump switch. Now, like I said, if you're hooked up to city water, you don't need to have the water pump on. So you can just leave it switched off unless you need it. Your water pump is
Under here or somewhere.
So really you don't turn that water pump on unless you need water, right? Like you turn it
Right.
back off when you're done.
when you're not hooking up
using
to
water.
it,
Well,
right?
whenever you're not needing any water.
I can't remember if it's here or under here.
Yeah.
I think it's under this.
Okay.
So you've got your batteries are underneath here. So if you need to replace your battery, I believe it's got one. We put one in. In a lot of them there is space for two. I don't remember about this one, but
I think they have space for two.
usually they have two boxes installed, but we just put one battery in. So
Is this to check the battery?
that is for the water heater.
Oh, water.
Yep. If you wanted it, you've got the battery level monitor there, but the batteries themselves are underneath. So you just take out 4 screws from this piece and lift the whole thing out.
There's a pump.
Behind there.
Well,
So there's your water tank. You can see there's the fill tube that comes in. Water comes in there.
Right.
There's the overflow, and there's the tank itself.
okay.
So now your water heater, I just want to show you how that works. So it's set right now, let's see, that's on, set on 115. So if I turn on the hot water, yeah, have the water pump on. So it's running hot water, and in a minute that should kick on if you've got it activated. We may not have enough water in the tank. It's just barely putting out anything.
Solar-
volts.
Solar
And that
controller.
means, so what that means is the voltage comes from the solar panel to the controller, and then that sends a regulated charge voltage to the battery. So you don't need to do anything with it. It's doing its job. It will show you what it's doing right here. So anything, a normal charge voltage is like 13 volts or over.
Right.
It's a 12 volt battery, but like 12.6 is a good 12 volt battery voltage.
Okay.
If you're over, if you're over 13, then you know that it's charging.
Right.
So if you're sitting right in the sun.
So are we charging right now?
Yeah. So first off, when you're plugged in, that's going to be charging from your converter. So it'll show 13.5. If you're plugged in and you're sitting in the sun, like right now, we're seeing about 15 volts.
Okay.
So that's kind of telling you, right, we're definitely charging, we're getting voltage from the solar panel and from the converter. Down here, this is, your converter itself is behind there, but right here is all of your breakers and then all of your fuses. So the brake, I think, yeah, they're all labeled which one is for which.
Right.
So if something trips, you'll be able to, if something doesn't work, make sure that your breakers are all, none of them are tripped.
Got enough plugs around though.
There's plenty of plugs. This is a GFCI, so if it's tripped,
Right.
the light comes on,
Right.
and you can just reset it. So I'd check that first, then make sure you check all of your breakers. Those are the same kind of thing you'd see in a house. And then your fuses down here, if your 12 volt systems are not working, you want to make sure you check your fuses.
Right.
And if a light is on next to it, that's telling you it's blown. You can always pull it out and look at it.
All right.
And it doesn't come with any spare fuses, so it might be a good idea to carry a few extra with you.
What are those 20s or something? Or
Most of them are 15s. There's also a couple 30s and a 40.
Do you sell those here?
do
we
you
do.
have the 110 in there too, or is it somewhere else?
So all the 110 is on the breakers.
Oh, okay. On the breakers. Okay, there you go.
That's right.
All right.
So you might need to buy a couple packet, tens and 20s.
Mostly 15s.
15s.
15s and then a couple 30s and a 40.
Okay.
All right.
Just throw them in your 12 box in your truck or something.
All right. Right there, that is your propane and CO2 detector.
Okay.
So it's going to get set off by either of those. If you have a gas leak, if you have carbon monoxide, will set it off. Any real strong smell can set it off. If it's propane, then you're most likely going to smell it and know.
You don't smell anything.
I don't smell anything.
You really don't.
So like make sure all these are off if that is going off. If you leave one of these on, it can create a leak. And this is just, it's a gas stove. It's pretty easy to use. To light it up, turn your burner on, and then click this. Every time that clicks, it's making a spark.
Oh,
So you just turn on your burner, and then click the lighter, and it turns it on. If it's not coming on, first thing to check is your gas. Make sure that your gas valve is switched on. If the tank is empty, switch it to your other one.
Ooh, I smell that.
Yeah. See, you do smell something.
Is that one supposed to be straight up and down too, or is it?
This one is the igniter,
Oh,
so
it
it's not
doesn't
turning
matter.
anything
Okay.
on. Yeah. Now it kind of, I like how it looks better if it's
That way
going
you
the
see
same
them all,
direction.
but-
When you go to put this down, make sure that you lift it up so that you don't mess up the hinges. So it wants to lift up and unlatch.
I would guess it needs to be cooled down before you lay it down, right?
It's metal, so it'll be fine. Although I'd still probably let it cool down, but it would be okay. You do want to make sure that it's down before you drive off with the camper on the truck.
Yeah.
You don't want it to be banging around everywhere.
And the oven?
The oven, that's right there. Now the pilot light for the oven is down in there. For whatever reason, it is hard to light the oven using this igniter.
Okay.
It will light eventually, but it takes a long time. So I usually just stick a lighter down in there. And that will save you some trouble. Alright, so we talked about all this, all that. Let's see.
Oh yeah, what else? No, maybe.
Your furnace itself is right here. That's where all of the hot air is going to come out. But you've got the thermostat right here, so that's the way you're going to turn it on. Right now, it's all the way. The switch is all the way to the left, so it is off. If you want to turn it on, you do that, and you'll hear the blower come on right away. We don't need it to actually feel hot air coming out. If it doesn't light, then it will try again for like 3 or 4 times. If it doesn't light, then the first thing to do is just make sure that you have gas. So like, turn on the stove. If the stove turns on, then you know you have gas. So that's step 1. This is just basically a closet. You can move the shelves. Gotta go in here.
That's nice.
Your microwave, you already know how to use a microwave. I won't bother explaining that, but the one thing I will say is this pulls a pretty good amount of voltage. If you're running your air conditioner, if you switch on the microwave, it'll probably trip something. So just run one or the other.
Yeah. Same way with the skillet.
Yep. Anything with like a big current draw,
Just use one.
yeah. You gotta light the fan. So of course, if you're using the stove, good idea to have the fan on. Your air conditioner is colder, so I have it on the coldest setting, max, right now, because obviously you want it running full blast when it's that hot.
Where's the water go? The condensation, is it going
It
out the
drips
top?
off the roof.
Okay.
So
is that what was out there dripping off, probably?
Yeah.
That's
out there?
probably what you saw. Yep.
Yeah.
If it's running, condensation's going somewhere, dripping off the lowest corner.
And is there a filter in there that needs changed?
Yep, there's a screen inside here, and you can kind of see through the holes. If it's getting dirty, pull it out and clean it. You want to keep it clean so the air conditioner doesn't have to work harder.
Yeah.
Now, you can also kind of direct which way the air is going. So, it'll come out here, 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 and here. If you want, say, all the air to go to the bed, shut all these, and it's directing all of the air that way.
That's nice.
If you're sitting right here and you want it all coming out here, shut all those up, and it's gonna all come out right there.
Cool.
So you can direct which way it's going.
That'd be good this time of the year.
Yes, absolutely.
Depends on where you're sitting.
Yeah.
And you cut that on, that'll get a little air going. If you can't run the AC, it's gonna be really hot in here.
Oh yeah.
But this will help a little bit.
Right.
So if
especially
that's all you got, it's better than nothing. If it rains, just make sure that that's shut. It doesn't have a sensor.
Mine
So
has a sensor.
It's up to you.
We just installed one in my van. It has a
Oh,
sensor.
nice. You can install one with a sensor if you want to, but this one doesn't have it. You do have light switches, but they've got their own little buttons on them too.
Hey, that's what we need. What
it's
is?
real
Oh no,
simple.
we'll figure it out.
It just pulls up and will fold out to about here.
That's right.
Okay.
I think something up.
That's where a table, I mean a bed, I guess you make a bed out of it.
Yeah, you can
Well, you put a table.
put your table right here.
Where's
Oh,
the
okay.
table? In there?
Table's up there.
Oh. Copies? Is it just one?
There is 2 of every key, so
Good.
it's probably smart to make 2 key rings
Yeah.
and keep one in your spare. Excuse me. The purple ones are for the door, and then your one compartment, some of your compartments lock, and they use the gray ones.
Okay.
751 key opens up the shower hatch. So there's all your keys.
Congratulations.
Now in here, there's some random things. This is an optional towel holder you can mount inside the bathroom. Do things like that.
Is that the water filter?
Yes,
You got a
I
water
don't know
filter?
if there's actually a water filter in this camper. They put this in with all of them, but I don't know.
I mean, is that for for the shore water or the water? You can hook it up to the water hose.
I don't know if you can do that.
Oh.
It goes inside a canister.
Okay.
But if there is a filter in the camper, this is what it's for.
I think I'm getting sick.
You want me to turn that off? You need to go out and get some fresh air? You want to go out and get some fresh air?
Yeah, let her just go ahead.
Backup jack remote. So you have one that's wireless, but this is the backup, which will plug into the activated panel right down there. So that's living in here.
What's
This-
that remote for actually? The jack?
Yeah, for running the 4 jacks.
Okay.
Each one that raise and lower the
Oh,
camper.
cool.
In here, they're basically owner's manuals for the parts and pieces of the camper. So you've got one for the stovetop and one for the air conditioner. So that is all in here. You can read it if you want to. You probably don't need to. I would keep all this stuff around. If you ever need to file a warranty, then you do want to have this stuff.
Okay.
So you probably won't need this, but this is your backup.
Okay.
This is a sewer hose holder. You can mount it on the camper, underneath the camper somewhere, but it's hard to tell where the truck is going to come to, so we just leave this here. If you decide to mount it, then it's not too hard to do that.
So does that take the place of a sewer line?
It doesn't take the place of it. It's a place to store it.
Oh, the sewer. Okay.
You open up, you can store.
And where
the
do you
sewer
store
hose.
that? In your truck somewhere?
Well, this would screw onto the camper somewhere.
Oh,
If
I got
excuse
you.
me, if you decide to do that.
Or you could, that little container down there, you could just put it in there, right? Because that goes into the truck.
You could probably stick
Or
it in there.
roll
We'll
everywhere.
see. We'll see
Okay.
when we put the truck
Okay.
under it.
Is that about it on that, or?
That's about it over there. Your TV. This is strapped to the wall. If I can take it off, okay. So this will swing out. I'm back here. You can hook up to here if you want to hook up satellite.
If you're at some place where outside you hooked it up and then it has it there?
Yes, and you
Okay.
saw the port outside.
Yeah.
And this will switch it from TV to cable.
Okay.
If the light is on, then the antenna is working.
Okay.
It's a 12-volt TV, so it'll run off of the battery. You just need to hook it up with a coax cable from here to there, and then you'll be able to watch whatever TV.
He
get
can
on
hook
the
that up to
antenna.
his laptop and watch.
You can do that
yeah.
too, and that's easier for a lot of folks.
Yeah.
Stop, you pull them again, and they release.
Okay.
Those lights, those are just little touch pads on the lights. So if you want to turn them off, you gotta crawl up there and touch them. I'll probably shut everything down
Yeah.
before we put it on the truck, or
Okay.
before you go anywhere.
In the bathroom, right? Oh yeah, you got a fridge and a bathroom.
Fridge in the bathroom. So that's just a magnet pad right there.
Okay.
This is a pretty standard camper bathroom.
Okay.
So that of course dumps straight down to the black tank. If you put your foot on the pedal halfway, it'll fill the bowl up with water.
Okay.
Fill it up with plenty of water because you want lots of water down in the tank. And then when you push it all the way, it dumps it all into the tank.
All right.
So you just need to make sure you have some tank treatment. They send a bottle of it with the camper.
How long does that treatment last?
Well, let me see.
I mean, does he just put a little bit in every so often, or he can read it?
So every time that you dump the tank,
You want some
then you
new
want to put some more in.
Okay.
So like you put some in and it's good until the tank is full.
Gotcha.
Then you dump it. Then the next time you use it, put more in.
Gotcha. All right.
You have a shower. This is just access. If you need to service stuff, you can put a little something down in there.
Put some
you
toilet
can keep
paper so
toilet
it won't
paper
get
down
wet.
in there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good
You do
spot
want to
for
be
it.
careful of what toilet paper you use. Don't use anything real thick.
Right. Like
RV toilet
Scott,
paper is the best. The one ply Scott, that will work too.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. That looks good. And then the fridge is right there, right?
That's right. So it'll run off of shore power or off gas. And right now it's on auto. And auto will select shore power first. And if you unplug it, then it's going to switch to gas.
Okay.
If you hit the button, so it is out, it's going to switch over to just run on gas.
Okay.
No matter if you're plugged in or not. The check light here, that's an indicator telling you that the gas is not working. So if that light comes on, it means you've got a problem. If you run out of gas, then your check light will come on.
You make sure he's okay. Okay. Just make
In
sure
general-
they didn't call me to say he passed out or something.
In general, I'd say leave it on auto. That's the easiest thing to do.
I think so too.
If you want to shut the whole thing off, you hit the on/off button. See, it's pretty cold right now. It's been running for
Nice.
a while.
Got ice.
If you turn it on, probably within a few hours, you'll notice it getting colder. I would ideally run it overnight to get it all the way cold.
Okay.
Do you want me to switch it off right now?
No, just leave it on because
Okay,
he's gonna
leave it on.
stay in it tonight. So
Sounds good.
I told him to live in it for a couple of days and don't bring anything in until he needs it. So
Yep. Figure out how everything works. On unlevel ground, you would also level it doing that.
okay, so they can handle some
if it was
pressure.
on a hill, you would just raise up the side that was down the hill a little bit more until the
Now if he
camper's
keeps
level.
it in his truck, he's just gonna have to do the little raised
Then
things.
you'll level it on the truck.
Yeah. So
So the first thing you do is push this button. It's going to activate the jacks. If that green light's on, then it means you're ready to go.
okay.
So right here you have your jack controller. If you hit lift and lower all, it's going to run all the jacks at the same time. That's usually
Okay.
what you'll do. Now if you need to adjust it, like if you're taking it off of the truck and the ground is not level, then not all the jacks will hit the ground at the same time. So in that case, you just run, say, just that side, or you can run just this side.
Okay. And what is that? Battery operated? It needs battery.
It's battery operated. It's got a battery in here. It should last for quite a while.
Okay.
If it quits working, then you can plug it straight in. You see right here.
Oh, okay. Charge it.
It won't charge it. But it will work.
Oh, you can
through
plug it
that
in
wire.
and use it through that wire.
Yes. And then the red remote control, that's your backup, and that
Okay.
is also wire operated.
Okay.
So that jack panel, that will time out after a few minutes. So if you run it and then you come back 10 minutes later, you probably have to push the button again to
Okay.
restart it.
All right. You're not going to be claustrophobic in here, are you? Are you not going to be claustrophobic? Maybe just too many people in there. But and the lights on back here. Where is that light?
Porch light.
Up there. Okay. All right. Got it.
Green light is on, then the jacks are activated. Right now I'm hitting the yellow button that says lift. It's lifting all of the jacks. I'm just going to raise it up until it's a few inches above this.
How high does this thing go?
It'll generally go to about that high.
So you have to take the plug in and go under there and plug it in?
Yes.
You do that before you back it in?
Usually I back it in, And then when it's set partway down, I'll run the 7-pin cord. So if they're wanting the bed, then we'll run it back to the bumper. I have not installed the bracket for the glow steps. Reason being, I'm not sure yet if it's going to work because this is a long bed truck with the tailgate on. So we'll see. Person that's backing up the truck, you can look in your mirrors and make sure that you don't hit the jack legs. And then the wheel wells are the other thing you have to watch. You have to make sure that the side of the camper is not going to hit the wheel wells.
Oh, okay. Come over here. Come over here.
Yeah, you can be back there and watch and see. Yeah, I just told her.
I'm sure he knows what he's doing. He's
make sure it doesn't
pinch the cord.
Yeah.
Watch that cord, Dad. Get up. You gotta watch the cord while he's bringing it down.
I'll do it. Wait, I'll wait. So one thing I'm doing, I'm lowering the front jack, 2 jacks first. What that's doing is shifting the whole camper a little bit. So as you go to lower it down, you may be too close on one side or you want to bring it forward or back. So if you, for instance, if you bring the 2 front jacks down first, it's going to shift the whole camper a little bit like that. So keep that in mind when you're getting it in place. I'm actually going to need to put a piece of insulation under the antenna on top. So what I did was I took out the set screw so that the antenna part I took off. So you got about release by screwing it in. Screw it out if you need to.
How much pressure you want on the handle?
So you should feel that spring engaging. It does. If it's crazy hard, then you can loosen it. It doesn't need to be really tight. But you should definitely feel the spring being engaged.
Okay. Bricks or anything?
You can do that.
But you wouldn't want to carry it. You wouldn't want to carry it with you.
Not unless, you know, because you got
Now it's made that you can just use it with it on the truck, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it can stay on the truck. It can stay on the truck all the time if you want.
Okay.
It's kind of, I know, putting it on and taking it off is kind of annoying. So it may just be easier for you to leave it on all the time, and that's what a lot of people do.
Okay.
All right, so here is your water hookup. So you've got two water sources. You have the city water and the freshwater tank. Now, the water tank is the way that you can carry water with you. So if you want to have water when you don't have a hose or something, you fill up that tank, and then you turn on a water pump from the switch inside, and that pulls from the tank.
How much water does each one have? Well, one of them is permanent. I mean, it's a city, it's a constant feed.
That's right, that's right. The freshwater tank, I can't remember the exact size.
Maybe
I'm not
30?
gonna lie to you. I don't think it's 30. I think it's more like 20 gallons.
20? Okay.
But don't quote me on that because I don't remember exactly. So if you hook up to there, that's the city water. Hook up a garden hose to there.
Right.
Any garden hose screws in there. Now they do make RV hoses.
Right.
Special white ones. They're sanitary.
Right.
Definitely not a bad idea to have one of those. But any hose will hook up to there. If you hook it up, you turn it on, then you've got as much water as you need.
Right.
If you do not have city water hookup, that's when you fill up your fresh tank.
I got you.
Now, if you're always going to have a hose available, then you don't need to fill up the tank. It's separate.
Right.
So it's not going to fill by itself. If you know that you're going to want water, then you just stick the hose in. This doesn't really have a threaded fitting. You just stick the hose in and fill it up. When it comes out the top, it's full.
Okay.
One thing I want to say about that, if you hook it up, like you're going to hook it up at a campsite or in your backyard or something and leave it for a while, it's a good idea to have a pressure regulator.
Right.
And that'll make sure that you're not
and a
too much
filter
pressure.
too, right?
A filter is a great idea, especially it's got a little screen on there.
But
if you're going to be, that'll get anything big out. So if you're going to drink it or do anything with it. And honestly, it's better to have filtered water anyway. So you can get like an inline filter.
It just fits right here, and then the hose fits to that, so it's a little filter.
Yeah.
So
that's
and a pressure
definitely
regulator.
Not a bad idea.
You could probably get them both on the same pressure regulator and filter. You just put them together.
I haven't seen it, but it's likely that they make that. All right. Here's the shore power hookup. So that plugs into 30 amps. And of course, that powers everything in the camper. This is not the cord it comes with. You've got one inside that basically looks like that.
Now, did you say it's not 30? It's on 30 amps.
It is 30 amps.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll need to get an
That's all
adapter. You need to get an adapter for a 15 when you go to a place with it's only 15, right?
That's right. Yeah. If you want to plug it in